Hey everyone, and welcome to this Forge College Explainer. Today, we're diving into synthesis and next steps, understanding distributed ledger technology. We're going to take all those brilliant but kind of abstract concepts you've explored in previous lessons, the design patterns, the system trade-offs, and we're going to pack them into a highly practical toolkit. Because by the time we finish up today, you'll have a crystal clear framework to take with you right into our upcoming deep dive on blockchain basics. So we've just covered some pretty abstract trade-offs in distributed systems. But before we actually jump into the blockchain stuff, we really need to stop and ask, how do we visualize an invisible network? I mean, how do we take floating data packets, replication lags, and all these consistency protocols and actually picture them in our minds? It's like a giant puzzle, right? And if you can't visualize the plumbing, well, you definitely can't build the house. Okay, let's take a quick look at our architect's agenda for today. We're going to cover 1, the city blueprint, 2, mapping patterns, 3, two tales of tech, 4, the architect's checklist, and 5, getting ready for the blockchain. Awesome, let's get right into it. So starting with section 1, the city blueprint metaphor, we're translating software directly into physical space. To make this super concrete, I want you to imagine a city where moving goods around perfectly mimics routing network data. This brilliantly illustrates our first big trade-off. On one side, a central warehouse makes ordering simple, just like leader replication. On the other side, having many local shops distributes the responsibility, but it definitely increases coordination overhead, kind of like a quorum setup. Think about it for a second. If you run the city, having one massive central warehouse means everyone knows exactly where the inventory is, right? Deliveries are scheduled, order is maintained, it's great. But what happens if the main road to that warehouse gets blocked? Boom, the whole city stops. Now, on the flip side, having 50 distributed local shops means your city is incredibly resilient. But trying to figure out exactly how many total apples the city has at any given second, oh man, that is an absolute logistical nightmare. And when things do break in our city, and network partition is, well, it's hilariously disastrous. It's literally like a bridge collapsing and trapping your neighborhood with nothing but 50 crates of left shoes. In a distributed system, a network partition just means your servers absolutely cannot talk to each other. So back in our city, if that bridge falls, the trapped neighborhood has to make a tough choice. Do those shops keep selling their left shoes locally without checking the central warehouse? That's local autonomy or availability. Or do they lock their doors and flat out refuse to sell anything until the bridge is fixed so they can confirm the inventory? That's central coordination or consistency. You just can't have both. Moving on to section 2, mapping patterns to reality, moving from metaphor to ledger. Now, let's see how this city infrastructure maps directly to practical ledger implications. Notice how our abstract terms match up perfectly here. A registry demanding a strict consult before a sale acts exactly like strong consistency, preventing double spending. Look, if you're building a system that tracks who owns a unique piece of property, you absolutely want strong consistency. You need that municipal registry to give a firm thumbs up before anything changes hands. But if you're just tracking, say, the total number of website visits, maybe it's totally fine if the local shops just reconcile their numbers at the end of the day. That's eventual consistency. It improves availability, meaning the shops stay open, but you do have to tolerate a little bit of temporary disagreement. Up next is section 3, two tales of tech, where we apply these patterns to real architectures. To prove these aren't just academic concepts we're throwing around, let's contrast two very different building sites. Application A is a high-speed game needing sub-100 millisecond responses for like 200,000 concurrent players. Meanwhile, Application B is a bank ledger demanding legally auditable correctness. Look at how wildly different these goals are. Gamers in Application A will absolutely abandon your game if their swords take 2 seconds to load. They need blazing fast, low-latency action, for sure. But for Application B, if two banks are settling a billion-dollar transaction, literally nobody cares if it takes an extra half second. What they absolutely demand is that the transaction is undeniably, cryptographically final, zero double spending, ever. Now notice how the exact same pattern, leader replication, is a brilliant performance boost for the game, but would be a completely unacceptable single point of failure for the bank. Application A uses a leader inside each region to hit an incredible 50 millisecond relatency. If a server hiccups and a player's inventory diverges for a couple of seconds, the game's logic just quietly fixes it later. No big deal. But Application B, the bank, uses quorum replication. A transaction isn't considered final until a majority of the nodes literally agree on it. Sure, it takes 200 to 500 milliseconds, but it guarantees 99.99% durability. as you continue your journey through Forge College, realizing that there are no perfect solutions, only intentional trade-offs. Well, that's exactly what transforms you into a top-tier architect. Okay, let's jump into Section 4, the Architect's Checklist. This is your 7-step evaluation workflow. Since you're going to be evaluating ledgers in other Forge College programs, we really want to hand you a professional workflow. The absolutely crucial starting point is Step 1, define your measurable goals. Then Step 2, map out your operations by strictness. You do this before you even touch a replication strategy in Step 3. You'd be surprised, but this is where most people get it backwards. They pick a flashy new database or protocol first and then try to force their app to fit into it. A true architect writes down their target latency in milliseconds and their availability in exact percentages first. Once you map out which operations absolutely must be strictly consistent, those requirements will automatically rule out the incompatible designs for you. Next up, steps 4 through 7. You must plan for those collapsed bridges, right? Set clear, observable metrics, prototype your design, and explicitly record the trade-offs you've accepted. Ask yourself, how does your system actually detect a failure? Do you have an automated action ready, or does some poor developer need to be paged at 3 a.m.? Build a small prototype, measure it, and this is step 7, which is vital. Write down exactly what risks you are accepting. If you choose a model that prioritizes availability, write down how you plan to repair the inevitable inconsistencies instead of just pretending they won't happen. Using a concrete metrics table like this one ensures that when you evaluate blockchain protocols down the line, you're measuring them against hard facts, not just glossy marketing claims. Look at that first row, 99th percentile commit latency. If a ledger protocol claims to be super fast, you hold them to your metric. You ask, okay, but can you commit in under 200 milliseconds 99% of the time? Or look at RTO, the mean time to recovery. If a node goes offline, exactly how long until it's back up and contributing to the network? Guys, this table is basically your ultimate lie detector when reviewing different track. Finally, Section 5, ready for the blockchain. Let's get you transitioned for a deeper ledger study. With our blueprint in hand, let's finalize the tools you need. Pack these key terms into your mental toolkit because they're going to help you ask razor-sharp questions about consensus and finality. When you hear about a shiny new blockchain network, you shouldn't just be asking, hey, what's the token? No way. You should be asking, what is their consistency model? How do they achieve a quorum? How long is the replication lag? Because you now know that these aren't just buzzwords, right? They represent the actual physical limits, the roads and warehouses of that digital city. So before you move on to the next module, try writing down the latency and consistency targets for an app you absolutely love. Seriously, take 5 minutes. Pick your favorite social media app or mobile game and ask yourself, what happens if there's a network partition? Does it prioritize strong consistency or high availability? Write it out. This simple exercise will make the upcoming lessons on blockchain finality and ledger structures incredibly intuitive. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Be sure to head over to forge.college for more deep dives into these topics, and I'll see you in the next one.